think we've got serious problems. Well, I thought we had some problems beforehand, but I think we've got serious problems now. We did not need to go into the international break like that. I think if I'm going to sum it up, I'm not entirely sure that David Moyes knows how he's got into this situation or how he's going to get us out of it. He certainly didn't know how to get out of the situation in isolation with the situation that was Everton. He didn't know how to get out of that. He didn't know how to get out of a game where he was being suffocated and where we were basically 1-0 down. He just did not know what to do. And I've seen it before, but we've generally seen it against bigger teams and he just doesn't show the ambition to get out. But as we've gradually gone along, the teams that he will sit back against get more and more. I've said before in the build-up show, when it's the big six, you understand it. But then it sort of didn't just become a big six, did it? It was anybody that sort of played any sort of football at all would start to sit back. It was the big six, then it was Brighton. And then you sort of get the feeling this season we didn't play them, but you sort of felt it was going to happen against Newcastle. And then we go and play a fellow relegation struggler. There you go, I can say it now. A fellow relegation struggler, because they were down the bottom. And I'd say that as, look, a quarter of the season has gone. So I can say that now, right? That's a very different to do. I think we'll be relegated. But let's be fair, it's a concern, it's a worry when you look at the league table. If you're not looking at the league table and you're not worried, then you're a more resolute person than I am, certainly. But he didn't seem to have an answer for that, and it was just to sit back and defend when really we should and could have gone for the jugular. Everton did not enjoy the luxury of attacking players that West Ham had, both on the pitch and on the bench. But unfortunately, we don't either employ enough of them to put them on the pitch. I say employ, deploy, sorry, not employ. We don't deploy enough of them on the pitch at the same time. Or we have a position like the left wing position where, I was going to say normal teams, other teams allow that as a position to attack. We're not using left wing as an attacking position. We're left wing at West Ham under David Moyes is a defender. That's what happens unless you get desperate. And that's what happened. Got desperate at the end, played Cornet, started switching him around a bit. Cornet got behind the defence a couple of times, which is something Fornals didn't do. Don't have a problem with Fornals, but I spent all last season saying it. He looked good when he plays in the middle. He doesn't look great on the left wing. I thought that was done. I saw with the start of this season, Ben Rama was playing well. Where was Ben Rama playing well? Ben Rama started the season playing well on the left wing. Okay, that's great. And then we bring Cornet. Where's Cornet look good? Cornet looked good on the left wing. So we didn't have this last season. We've got two players who look better on the left wing with Fornals. What's Moyes do? He plays Fornals on the left wing. Very, very frustrating. But I am concerned, and I'm concerned that he doesn't seem to... I don't think David Moyes understands his direction of travel. I'm also not sure what he's trying to build. Because if what he's saying is, I'm going to incorporate and bring these new players in and we're going to try and play a different style of football, then that's fine. I'm not seeing it. I just see us playing the same brand of football that we were playing, but we're doing it far worse than we were a season ago, for instance. I think one of the major worries is we look slow in that game, really, really slow. And I think, how can you spend 180 million on players and still look slow? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Right, let me just deal with the midfield, because I think I touched upon the midfield in the review. That was terrible against Everton. Everybody's going to look at that Everton game and you will all find something, because so much of it was bad. You won't be wrong to find something. You'll look at it and you'll think this was wrong, this part of the game was wrong, and you're all right. Let me tell you from my point of view what I felt for what I've seen this season, which is basically whoever's playing alongside Declan Rice is allowed to run away from Declan Rice. Declan Rice basically gets left on his own in central midfield. In the build-up show, we were reading out the comments. Gio was reading out the comments. Gio said, there's a lot of comments about Flynn Downs here. And I said, I can understand it, actually. And one of the reasons I can understand it at the time, I said, I think it's a good news story. I thought he played well, got man of the match. But I don't think it's just that. Having thought about it and having watched that performance against Everton, what we saw when we saw Flynn Downs play alongside Declan Rice, we saw a midfield partnership, which is something we've just not seen. Because I think it's really hard to say any time that we've done okay this season that Souček and Rice have played well or we've done well. They've not played well as a partnership, okay? They've basically, Declan's held his position well, or Declan's had a good game, or Souček's got into the opposition box, but you wouldn't say they played well together. You wouldn't say they complemented each other. And I think this is the point. I think we've had a little glimmer, we've had a little glimpse of Flynn Downs, and unwittingly, we've looked at it and we've seen, okay, those two can function. These two are really, really good players, and they play well with each other. It was obvious in the game, and I think one thing I really do dislike is when something is glaringly obvious. I'm not the biggest football tactician in the world, far from it, but I said before the game that they would have Onana in there, they would have Gay in there. I even said I think Iwobi might be joining in. Will they join in as a 3? And Gio said, yeah, that's what will happen. I said, oh, well, in which case, Souček's going to have to keep it tight. He'll have to stand next to Rice, and probably Fornells will have to drop in there as well. He'll probably even ask for Paqueta to come back. Now, I'm not saying all those things happen. Clearly, we lost midfield, but it was Everton. It was evident, even to a bloke sat in his shed, that was an area of the pitch that was going to be a problem, and so it proved. And it's really hard, I think, to keep players motivated in a game like that. And by players, I mean Declan Rice, when he's basically on his own. And the times that Souček did join in, his passing was atrocious. Overall, our passing, our retention on the ball was terrible. It was terrible. And I was looking at that, and I don't know what David Moyes is watching. If he thinks... Obviously, David Moyes saw something within that game that he felt was going to work. Now, let me get it right. In the first half, Fabianski barely had a save to make. In fact, I'm sure you can go back and check the stats here. If I had more time before doing this video, I'd done it myself. I'm pretty sure in the first half, Fabianski didn't have a save to make. So I know that David Moyes is probably looking at that, thinking the defence are playing well. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to go and get a goal. But where does he think the goal's going to come from? I can only assume, just looking at it, what was it? It was, okay, up to, it wasn't quite the end of the half. I've written down 6 corners before it got to the end of the first half. I can only assume that David Moyes is thinking we're going to get a goal from a corner. Okay, fine, but it doesn't work. And it didn't work. Last season we were really good at corners. This season we're not. Dawson came back during the last game. He scores a corner. Great. Okay? Dawson weren't playing in this game. The others don't look a particular threat. Okay, we had one where Souček got the flick on through. There was nobody there. But you can't just keep a player like Souček who's taking up a fundamentally important, creative position in the team. Can't keep him just on the pitch for his headers from corners. You can't do that. Central defender is fine because central defender does other things throughout the game. They're there, they stay in their position. But you can't have a midfielder who can't pass, move and control the ball, and that's the problem with Souček. Now, I don't want to hang it all on Souček, by the way. I really don't. If you looked at the team that I picked in the preview, I would have played Souček. I would have actually played him as an attacking midfielder and got him up there. I said this, I would have got him up there next to Antonio and I would have played Scamacca as well. But I would have put Flynn Downs next to Declan Rice. It sounds like I'm trying to suggest that Flynn Downs is the answer to all the problems we've got. I really don't. I don't think that's the case at all. I think we've got problems in other areas of the team. We've bought a £50 million midfielder. I don't think David Moyes knows how to use him. That's an issue. That is a massive issue. If he does know how to use him, I'd like to know what his philosophy is, what he's planning to do. The more I see it go on, it looks like he wanted to spend big money on a player. He wanted to get Calvin Phillips. He couldn't get Calvin Phillips. Okay, fine. He went and tried to spend some money elsewhere. That sort of 40, 50 million was burning a hole in his pocket. He'll excuse me if I skip certain players out. He went to get Onana, couldn't get Onana. Right, okay, what am I going to do now? Do you know what? I'll go and get Zielinski. And all of these players are different, by the way. Okay, you could make an argument that Phillips is in a similar position to Onana and Zielinski maybe plays in a similar position to Paqueta. And then, okay, I can't get Zielinski, I'll go and get Paqueta. But I'm just going to need to spend this 50 million, which is really weird for somebody who'd taken so long to spend the 20 million that he'd had from the Sebastian Haller sale. And I do worry about his direction of travel. I do wonder, Moyes talks about this time on the training field. He talks about having time with the players. What's he going to do with it? What is the vision for the club? Because I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. This is what I think is going to happen. I don't particularly want to talk about David Moyes' keeping his job in this video. But here's what I think David Moyes' answer will be to this. I remember him back in the Everton days. He took over the Everton job. He created a team and he called his midfield the Dogs of War. He battled, right? They ground out results. They escaped relegation. That's why he got the job in the first place. Preston manager, became Everton manager. I remember it relatively well. He got the manager first time round with us. He had to battle. He had to get out of it. He did that. We got out of trouble. We battled. There was a little bit are flaring out. Was that his name, João Mario? I think he brought João Mario in, who gave us a little bit of something, didn't he? But in the main, we were battling. Gets a job again because we're in a precarious situation. We're battling. He gets us out because we're battling. We then get to a situation whereby we become good. We're good. We really make the most, almost better than anybody else at playing post-COVID in the empty stadiums. And we start to pick up results, start to look like a good team. We get into Europe. Things are better. We've got a rampaging goal scoring midfielder in Souček. We've got Bowen who's looking really good, and so on. You know, we've got a midfielder in Declan Rice. You don't need to tell you what happened. You get it. We're good, right? We've become good at this point. So teams give us more respect. They sit back against us. As David Moyes has obviously thought, right, I'm going to change things up. I'm going to make us more attacking. I don't think he knows how to do it. I don't think he knows how to do it. I think he's perhaps looking at Brentford or whatever, looking at Pep Guardiola, whatever, and he's gone, right, okay, that's what we've got to do. That's how we're going to do it. And I think it was the worst thing he could have done, because actually, I think he probably looked at the worst club. I think he could have looked at Liverpool. And basically, Liverpool still play a fast-paced attacking game. I know it's not worked out for him particularly this season, but their style would have much suited us better than what he's sort of trying to do. And I just think now, what do I think he's going to do now, which was my whole point? What I think he's going to do now, I think he's going to revert back to the grinding it out, and it ain't going to be pretty. It's really not. I think we're going to revert back to the battling, but it's going to be a really, really difficult watch, and I don't think he's going to get away with it now because the parameters have changed now. He's not going to be judged in the same way that he was judged when he first took over or he started his second stint, which is just saved for some relegation because, well, number one, there's a different set of people judging him as well because there's new owners, new shareholders at the club. Number two, he's had £180 million spent just in this window. That doesn't include all the other players that he's bought. I don't know. I've not added it up. I would imagine David Moyes, during his time at West Ham, has spent £250 million. I would think that's fair. He's not going to get judged in terms of being a relegation scrapper. I don't know. Look, I'm just frustrated after that game. And I'm sorry, I really didn't want to do these videos. I did say I wanted us to win handsomely. We're going to the international break, talking about how great Paqueta is and a Scamacca hat-trick and our Declan Rice is looking like the best midfielder in the world again. Bowen's back to form. Any number of things I would have preferred to do. I had a couple of people on the video, literally this morning's video, I uploaded it last night actually, saying you want Moyes sacked, you can't wait to get rid of Moyes. Everton. I actually didn't say that, but it does not that bloody matters what you say. People can invent what they think you're thinking and then they'll use your words. They won't use your words, they'll use what they think to be your thoughts against you. Basically thoughts that they've made up, they'll put them into your mouth and then they'll try and attribute those thoughts to you. I don't want David Moyes sacked. I really don't. I want him to pull it round. But obviously this can't go on indefinitely. This can't go on. And what I was looking for is a glimmer, a little glimmer. I would have even taken a loss. I didn't want it, but I would have taken a loss if I'd have seen a glimmer. Oh, here's a new way of playing. He's getting the best out of this player. He's getting the best out of that player. And here's the truth, though. Having said all of that, we didn't play well. We couldn't seem to find a tactical way to get past Everton. And in terms of getting the best out of a player, I don't think he's getting the best out of any player. I can't see a single player on the pitch. All right, maybe Kehrer, maybe okay. But by and large, bearing in mind, well, it's not just 11 players on the pitch. You have all the substitutes. Bearing in mind, you've got whatever, 14 examples, 15 examples of players. I'm not looking at him thinking he's getting the very best out of that player. And the excuse that he's got is that he can't integrate these players. It's too early. He seems to have a problem integrating new signings into the team. No one else having it. Lampard didn't see a problem integrating Onana into the team. Connor Cody, not a problem. Chuck him in. Tarkowski, he's got a brand new central defensive partnership. He's not there saying, "Oh, I can't do it. We can't handle without Mina in the team. We can't handle it because old Tarkowski and Cody, they're all brand new. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody. All right, maybe they're not in the Forest manager, but you get the point. Anyway, that's enough. That's enough for me. Unimpressed. Very worried. Very, very worried. Look, we're not going to upload any videos tomorrow. We're going to have a little time to think about it. I don't want to spend the next 2 weeks moaning about David Moyes. Really don't. But I am going to have a little think about it and wonder how we're gonna progress from this. By the way, we'll probably cover a few England games on this channel just to let you. Hopefully that'll cheer us up a little bit. It's quite important, to be fair. There's a World Cup coming up. Anyway, enjoy what's left of your weekend. It's hard though. It's hard to enjoy it after what we just seen. Just rank poor, really.